Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl BrittReacts. I wanted to react to this little hot clip last week, or a few days ago, but I've been without a voice, and this is the best I've sounded in a few days. So it's a little delayed. It happened last week, but I like to react to The View because it gets y'all real upset. You guys get so upset when I don't watch The View and think that there's anything factual going on here. It's just another one of the perspectives that a lot of people do watch and believe. So anyway, let's see what their take on the House censures with Rep. Al Green, or sorry, let's see what their take is on the House censuring Rep. Al Green for heckling Trump. Let's go.
So on Tuesday, Texas Congressman Al Green was booted from the chamber for protesting Trump's joint address to Congress. Watch.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Look at JD back there.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
So, after there were calls for the House to censure him over this, he made his case the next day. Take a look at that.
The president indicated that he had a mandate. I said to the president, you do not have a mandate to cut Medicaid. I have constituents who need Medicaid. They will suffer and some will die if they don't get Medicaid. I heard the speaker when he said that I should cease. I did not, and I did not with intentionality.
But the speaker,
Accountability.
also known as Mike Johnson, wasn't hearing it. Now, this is what he said about that. Watch.
They take no pleasure in making history like this. I want us to have proper decorum. I want us to maintain really the great tradition of this institution, and these things do damage to it. I'm sorry that it happened.
What about an insurrection? Does that do damage to the institution?
There she goes. It was only a matter of time. She was handling herself so like calm, cool, and collected. She looks great. I love these earrings. I love the denim. Y'all know I had to say something about it. Whoopi's not there. And so I guess it's a chain of command in the way of seniority, and Joy would be next up. I agree with the speaker. I think no matter what, especially in the government and especially in the climate that we're in, you want to see a standard of decorum and professionalism from the leaders of our country. And I think right now the Democrats are unraveling. I think a lot of what they feel is valid. I just don't know if I think how they're handling it is the right way. It feels very childish. It feels very petty. And you know, I get that they're frustrated, and I get they feel like they have no other way to do it. But to me, this feels, all of it feels so high school at this point. The booing, the cheering, the signs, the everything. It's like, again, I get it. And I feel like there are like desperate times calls for desperate measures. And in their perspective, we are in those times, and they need to take those measures. But it, like Johnson said, it is not, I don't think it's productive. I don't think it's helping. And I think it's just making the government look more and more laughable as a whole. I don't care what party. I think as a whole, it just feels like a circus right now. I think Al Green stood up and took accountability. He stood 10 toes down in his choice. And I mean, I think, okay, good. Take accountability and take whatever punishment comes with it. And I know that he was censured, which isn't, it's really nothing more than, I guess, like a strike, I suppose. So there's not like there's any, I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, any like immediate punishment. But it is kind of like a public lashing, if you will. So yeah, I mean, I'm not ever going to say I think January 6th, we need to get over it. I think that's like saying get over slavery. It's like something that happened. And in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, it's just been handled again in the oddest way. And I don't understand the denial around like the events that we all watched happen in house. Anyway. But the fact that that is like always the rebuttal, it's like, but can we just state that, okay, yes, Al even stood up and said he did it with intention and he knew, like essentially alluding to the fact that he knew it was wrong. The rules are the rules. And so to turn around and say, well, what about January 6th? It's like, when are we, like, again, the petty thing, when are we going to stop, like, but what he did, it's like, that is not an excuse for someone to then go in and break the rules and not be punished for it. It's like, okay, so because January 6th happened, then we're just going to start excusing everyone's bad behavior. I don't ever want January 6th to happen again. I don't ever want what has unfolded since then to happen again. And how does that happen? With people starting to follow the rules. I don't understand this. All right, Joy, bring it on.
I'm sorry that it happened.
What about an insurrection? Does that do damage to the institution?
It does.
So yesterday, the House voted to censure Green, which inspired this show of unity from some Democrats. Watch this.
Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
It's a circus. It's a circus.
You like that, huh?
I love that the Democrats are united, finally. And I love that the Democrats are finding their voice, finally. But can we do this in another way? Could we have done this and agreed on some better policies? And y'all know I don't take liking to anybody because y'all all corrupt as far as I'm concerned. Everybody's corrupt. Everybody is not doing any good for the people of this nation. But that's my opinion. I just feel like, good, band together as a party. Good. Now, what can you do for the people other than stand, like, I don't know. And if it were the Republican, I don't care who it is, but this doesn't feel productive. It just feels like a bunch of like angsty teenagers trying to get their point across rather than using the power they have, getting their party together and on the same page and coming back stronger for the next election in 4 years. This doesn't feel productive to me. It doesn't. And I just want to see like everybody win. Right now, it doesn't feel like everybody can win with the way things are going on. And I don't mean parties. I mean everyone as in the people. The people of this United States. I want everybody to win.
Touching. It's touching. But it didn't unite them all because 10 Democrats voted to censure Green.
Wow. Do you want
Wow.
a list of the 10?
Everybody doesn't have to
Yes, I
agree.
do. Why go after them, too? Go after the
Because
Republicans.
they don't.
Sorry to crunch on, it's a cough drop. Wow, Joy's like, why call them out? Why, this is my thing. It's like, everybody must follow what one thing is. Democrats don't have to all think alike. Republicans don't have to all think alike. If there are 10 Democrats that, perhaps these 10 people are just like, but he broke the rules. I agree with his stance, but he broke the rules. Are they wrong for thinking that? I don't know. This is frustrating.
Yes,
It's frustrating.
Why go after them, too? Go after the
Because
Republicans.
they don't know how to fight and be part of an opposition party. Representative Green gave them the example. The Democrats are not meeting the moment. It is very clear that Medicaid is on the table. It is very clear that Social Security is on the table. It is very clear that people will die. The baby boomers, the civil rights generation, they knew what they had to do. They were willing to fight and die for their rights. This generation of Congress, they are not meeting the moment. This is an existential crisis.
And also, I might point out, Some of them are from the most liberal states like New York, Hawaii, California.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay,
They should
I
have
won't
all
say it.
walked out with him.
And three are.
Well, he didn't walk out, he was put out. I hear Sunny. I hear what she's saying. I mean, is this effective? What did his, can we figure out better ways? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not in Congress. I don't know. I hear her. I understand the whole, it's a movement and change can't come without change and all this stuff. But it just feels like they're throwing a fit rather than actually trying to. And I said this in a recent video, okay, but what solution if you don't like this way, what solutions are you guys bringing for the change that you want to see? I am not anti-protest. I don't think protesting is illegal. I don't think protesting is ineffective. I just think if we're doing it in a without any end goal, what's the end game here? To just be in opposition? Okay, be in opposition and show up with some solutions of opposition. I'm frustrated, guys.
Here's
It's
a question.
hard.
Where was all this talk about decorum from Republicans when Marjorie Taylor Greene
I agree
was
with this.
screaming at Biden?
I agree with this.
Okay.
I agree with this.
All right, now, you want to hear where they are? I'm going to read them. Amy Berra, Ed Case, Jim Costa, Lauren Gillen, Jim Himes, I would never have thought that. Chrissy Houlihan, Marcy Kaptur, Jared Moskowitz, what?
Yeah.
Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez from Washington, and Tom
I
Suozzi.
think, respectfully, though, there's a lot of people who saw the outburst differently, including Democrats, which was, if you're going to protest and be an opposition party, do it with intentionality and make sure it works. Holding up signs, it's protesting, are they being advised by people who use, Windows 98? It's the most outdated,
Agreed.
inconsistent.
Agreed.
But to his
Agreed.
point, I get his point on Medicaid, but this mandate point, if Democrats are going to keep arguing, we only lost by X million of votes, that is not the winning message you guys think that it is.
He doesn't have a
But
mandate.
can I just tell you what Suozzi said, why he voted?
How many votes do you need
for
win
him?
by to have a mandate?
This is Suozzi's, he's a New York guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Both parties must hold themselves to the same standards we expect from the other side. See, they're going to a gunfight with a knife, as they say.
Therein lies the problem.
I think that's true. It's if you want them to uphold a certain decorum, a la let's use Marjorie Greene, then why would we go and do and exemplify and do the same thing she was doing? That's what I'm saying. Is there another way? I agree with the young lady is her name Sarah? What's her name? I think I find myself agreeing with her. She feels conservative overall, but she can call out what's right and what's wrong. I think as a Christian woman, someone that values my Christian beliefs, that I can find myself at least understanding the conservative thought process. But I can also, because I'm not just so blinded and defined by a title, point out what's wrong. And I use the word conservative, not Republican. I use the word conservative because those are, to me, two different things. A conservative person does not have to be a Republican. A liberal person does not have to be a Democrat.
See, look, I like civility in Congress. And I think that when you are in Congress, we are not at a WWE wrestling match. This is not the House of Commons. This is the U.S. Capitol. The problem is that this is not happening in a vacuum. We all remember when Joe Wilson, the Republican congressman, stood up against Barack Obama giving a State of the Union and called him a liar.
Said you lied.
We saw Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, the congressional hearings lately have devolved into shouting matches that are shameful. And frankly, like you, I have a really hard time being lectured by Republicans who are trying to whitewash and rewrite history, because if you didn't stand up against Donald Trump's pardon of 1,500 insurrectionists who have violated the Capitol like no other time in history, then you don't have the right to clutch your pearls and be all outraged
but they don't care.
over a member of Congress.
That's valid.
Yeah,
That's valid.
My bigger outrage is every one of those elected officials in that room was put there because of voters. They have a job to do. And what they keep doing is not doing their job.
Yeah.
Censures are like a slap on the wrist, and all they want to do is it was him, it was her, it was this. They
Pointing
fight against
fingers.
each other rather than work with one another.
Which is the point of Congress. I agree with this also. It's like, the people voted y'all in here and y'all are acting like children. All of you, the whole. It's just childish.
I'm there to make legislation, to move the ball forward. Right now, we have an impending government shutdown coming up. That's coming up. 70,000 jobs at the VA. Military intelligence sharing to Ukraine was just suspended. Those are problems that people care about. Stop fighting like little wieners in D.C. and start answering.
Yeah, it's childish.
This censor stuff, even that we talk about, do we want it, who voted, who, this is all pathetic.
But doesn't the Republican Party, isn't that the party in charge of all these problems?
No, censorship
Again,
is
she just wants to point fingers.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about the cuts, the VA cuts. Yeah. Isn't that the Republican Party?
What I'm saying is, get the word.
What she's saying, right, it's just like, why do we have to worry about pointing fingers? Nothing's getting done. What Sarah was saying is, instead of us all sitting in here playing the blame game, why don't we start talking about the things that are happening? No matter who initiated them, let's start talking about them, because that's your job. That's their job, is to talk about them and fix it and figure it out for the people. But Sonny and Joy just literally want to point the finger at everybody. It's like, okay, we get it. But isn't that it's like, what does that have to do with Al getting censured for standing up and breaking the rules? What's that got to do with anything?
Done. There's legislation. Stop singing in there. Stop holding up signs. Stop censoring the left and then the right and then screaming at each other.
Censuring.
You're feckless.
2 different words.
I don't care. You're feckless. And what they're not doing is having
That
more
was so
fun fighting with each
condescending.
other, putting on their
So
partisan
condescending.
jerseys than they are representing the constituents that voted them
And
there.
the votes will be there, the support will be there if they have a message that resonates with their constituents. And I want to play a quick clip, and it's no disrespect to Hakeem Jeffries, but this is what a losing message looks like.
What's wrong with y'all? We don't need to send paid protesters into your town hall meetings. The American people are with us.
Fire your social media person. There's no one behind you. Like, make it seem like people are with you. Make it seem like you want to be part of the team. But it seems like it's a lot of sign waving. It's disjointed messages. They can't decide what it is they're rallying around. And like,
I miss the days when Congress members were not on social media, because now they're all like, what's up with y'all? Huh? I don't want my congressman talking to me like my 22-year-old brother. I don't want that. I don't want my congresspeople doing TikTok dances to Kendrick Lamar. I don't want my congressman, my congresswoman ranting on TikTok. I don't want that. I don't want to know what y'all look like outside of what's broadcast from the chamber. I would like it. The social media disease, the need to be on social media, the need for validation, the need for clout, as the kids call it, is literally infiltrated into the government, and it's so sickening. Like, I want everybody to get off social media. Here's the thing: if you are voted into any type of political office, I feel like you should not be allowed to be on social media outside of like whatever is managed by your people. You should, like, what's up with y'all? Huh? Representative Jeffries, please get out of my face with that. I don't want you talking to me like that. I don't feel secure and protected by my government when they're talking to me the way Gen Z talks to me.
this federal workforce, there are actual cuts that matter, like to the VA, like potentially to Medicaid.
Talk about what matters.
I know, but instead they're messaging
but talk about it.
Single federal worker.
Let's talk about what the Republicans are doing.
Some people can't
talk about it.
You can't shrink
then talk about it.
Talk about the goods and services people won't have if you make these cuts.
I think people have, I think Americans, for me, I worry a lot less about the protests that are going on in Congress, and I care a lot more about the protests that are going on at town halls and in the streets of America. Because I think that if we want to develop a message, we are the ones that have to show up. Don't depend on your elected officials right now. This is going to be bottom up, and we have to make Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress. We've got to make the Republicans in Congress, who have the power to address all those issues, because they run the House, they run the Senate. We have got to make them more scared of us and losing their seats than they are
How do you
scared of
think
Donald
they're
Trump.
doing at that right now? Because what I would say is they're offering
No,
a
I
great
think,
distraction.
I actually think you're wrong. I think in the last
offering
2 weeks there has
One
been
at
a
a
shift
time.
in political
One at a
opinion.
time.
I think in the last 2
halls,
weeks,
not because the Democrats are doing anything.
That's my point, because of the people. So if you ask me, how are people doing? I think people are showing up. They're showing up to
people are
protest.
amazing. It should always be
JD
about the
Vance,
people.
they're showing up at town halls.
I liked hearing the Democrats sing "We Shall Overcome."
I did too.
I think the Republicans should sing "Hopelessly Devoted to You" to Trump. Right?
Okay, that last bit was funny because I say this and I'll say it again, I'll say it again, I'll say it again. There is a very unproductive fandom around Donald Trump, and I think the blindness to the fact that he can do no wrong because they're just like standing over him rather than holding him accountable when he isn't right or he isn't doing things accordingly. I think that's a problem. So I think that last thing was funny. Yeah, I agree though that like instead of doing all this, I wish the Democrats would just find a way to be more productive and forward moving for the people if that's who they're supposed to be representing. I don't know. I wish I could just vote for Jesus every 4 years because humans are stressing me out. Anywho, go ahead and sound off down below. And remember, if you can't keep it respectful, you can't keep it in my comments. Shoo fly, don't bother me. I appreciate you all. I appreciate your perspective and your opinions. And I hope you have the day that you deserve. Bye.